when we were playing Saracens, especially at home, there was never really, I don't know, certainly from my point of view, I never felt that we were going to lose. Obviously, the Stoop was always a different level when we were playing Saracens. You could just tell, like, I actually can't remember much of the warm-up or anything specific like that, but I'd always remember the kind of looking around in the changing room, and you could tell when it was Saracens, like, boys were switched on, because there was probably a slight fear of us getting hammered by, 40, 50 points like other teams had done, because they were so good at the time. But I think from us, that fear always came out good for us, especially because it was against them, and there were so many close rivalries, like not only position-wise, but just club-wise. Obviously, where they're from, like kind of London-based clubs, they were always the team that we wanted to beat. And fortunately, well, I think was it 3-4 years? Was it Fridge where we beat them at home? I can't remember.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't have to ask the boys to get up for it playing against Saracens at home, because there's always this thing, we hated each other. I mean, I don't know how true that is, but it was just a game that everyone always wanted to win. But it's always good to play against Saracens, either it's home or away, because it's pretty much England team, really, isn't it? So you end up putting yourself against the best players, and there's always that rivalry. So it's just a game. You look at the calendar and you think, yeah, I want to be involved in that. I think me and Charlie probably know better than anyone that we've always been either in there or not. You know what I mean? We've never really been like, well, I suppose I speak for myself, but we've never really been like every game guaranteed to play or start or whatever. So if I was ever handed a game like that, you'd always just try and make the most of it.
We picked a massive forward pack with the big Fridge in the second row. I think back row, Matty, Boff was on absolute fire, wasn't he? And Robbo.
Yeah.
Robbo probably picked up man of the match, but Boff was going around just absolutely wiping people out. I think he'd been out for quite a while with his his arm, which just kept going, which was a bit of a hindrance on that injury for him. But he was just going around killing people.
That whole team kind of complemented each other in a way, because you had Matt Iliamanu at 8, who was just basically Billy Vunipola, but probably a bit bigger. And then you had, Charlie and Visser on the wings, and, when Carl Sinclair come on, he's always, well, it doesn't matter when he plays, he's always good, isn't he?
Obviously, Dan probably got, he was just kicking the ball like it was a football, wasn't he? He was putting it on the money.
Yeah.
But then what I forgot actually from the, until the highlights were sent through, was actually J Lang 95 got a start, didn't he?
Yeah, 10, yeah. No, and he had a good game.
After dislocating his shoulder in the first minute or something. So fair play to him.
Yeah, he stuck at it well. And as you said, Danny was just, he was like Perlo at one point, just putting the ball on the money every time. Like, and like players like that, they just step up in big games like that. So I think that's what carried us through.
I think we did go 10-0 down or something, didn't we?
Yeah, I remember that prof, he made a break or something, and they scored. I think one of our players made a really good covering tackle, but I think they got the try in the end. Can't remember.
Didn't you stop him over the line?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. Probably assisted.
You celebrated with him, mate. You tapped him on the
head. Yeah, I whispered in his ear. I was like, "Good try, mate." You know what I mean?
I remember being bored for about 10 minutes leading up to it, because we'd genuinely gone probably about 20, 25 phases of just hitting it up the forwards, which in their 22 is just the back's worst nightmare. But it's
my heart bleeds for you, Char. Mate. My heart actually bleeds for you, mate.
It's one of them. I think, like with Dan playing at 9, he's a very instinct player. So we always said to each other, we'd just give each other the look if there was even something slightly on. Like, I was actually expecting like a pass over the top, but if you've got the talent to put it on the foot, put it on the foot. And we had one look probably half a second before he looked up, and I was open. I'd been open for a while, because Goody at the back was kind of hovering behind, trying to take a wing, but because we were changing direction with the forwards, he had to keep switching wings. So there was always going to be somewhere open, and fortunately it was my wing, not Visser's, and he put it on the money. He'll be picking up some serious assists from that, I think, from that game. It's just one of them again. I've always said Like every time before we went out, me and Dan looked at each other and I just said, if you go, mate, I'll be with you, especially on penalties, because I think, especially if you take a quick tap, it's when the defence is probably the most exposed. Like they're not set, they're retreating, and there's always going to be dog legs. So especially if Dan goes, taps it quick, then just get with him, because there's always going to be a gap somewhere. There's going to be a dog leg, and if you can get through that first line of defence, which are going back 10 metres, then there shouldn't be too many people in the backfield. He went. I decided to go with him, and unfortunately for him, he got taken out, or I'm sure he would say he would have got there first. But yeah, I don't think they saw. I think they had kind of given up, the Sarries boys, and luckily I was able to get there and touch it down again. Langy put in a hell of a penalty, didn't he? Right to the corner.
Yeah.
Like we're probably with 3 to go or something. I think Faz had kicked a couple of penalties before, but then Langy, I think he'd gone down injured again. He was milking it that game, and I think about 50 metres, he put it straight just outside the 5, which gave us a line out right where we wanted to be, really. And did it go to you, Fridge, or can you not remember?
What, when we scored?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was called the bailout at the front, mate. Safety first, and then.
Did you call that?
Yeah, of course, mate. I think that's the one and only time in my life I've called a line out. But
100%.
Yeah, there you go. I'll take it. Yeah, just took it there, and then Deese just put that magic kick in.
I presume we were meant to drive it.
No, we were, but it weren't going anywhere. And then I think, I'm not back, so I don't really know this whole back coverage thing. But I think he probably saw the space or something, and then just put a kick in.
Well, I remember Dan just took it out, and then I have no idea actually what we called. I think I was in the centre at this point because Loft went off. So
so Charlie, what's happening? What's happening there? Who's calling what there in the backs?
I don't know, mate. We didn't want it. Keep it in there.
You didn't want the ball?
Keep it in there, mate.
Well, even though it's not going anywhere. What do you want us to do with it?
I was in the centre. I was on a hard line, so I definitely didn't want the ball. Avoid that at all costs. Then Dan put it up, put it on the money, and then, like, very unlike Goody, to be fair, just he must have mistimed it or something, and this finisher here's scored in the corner for the winner.
Yeah, I mean, he is a bit like Rue van Nistelrooy, isn't he? I mean, you ain't getting much outside the box, but if you put him 5 metres from somewhere, he's finishing that. You know what I mean? Like,
right place, right
class in that. Yeah, he is.
When Vish scored that last play of the game, which I was actually kind of gutted about because I think it brought him level on tries with me, which was actually a right one.
Yeah, but check his tackling stats. See where he is on that. He's probably in the minus, I think.
Nil point.
The bit I was scared about was after we scored, there was still about
the kickoff.
Yeah. I was absolutely cacking it. I was like, if this ball goes to me, just don't drop it, like, because you drop that, they got the ball, and you know what they're like, they just turn over and score.
So we had a setup from that the 2 centres would be on the short one, and so I think by this time Doc was still on, so it was me and Doc, but obviously they're not going to put it on Doc, they're going to put it on me. I was like, I should not be standing here, so I actually switched with this and put him there, because he's 6'4", 6'5", put him there. And then they actually tried to put it on him, which was lucky I dropped way back. I think I was behind you, Fridge, turning the other way, so they didn't kick it to us. And then
if that's going there, I'm just escorting. I'm not going up for that. I'm letting you take that.
You're shouting yours before he's
yeah. Before he's even kicked it, I was like, yeah, Charlie, it's yours, mate. It's yours.
But they actually kicked it in the little short bit, but it went over this. And luckily, it was a bad kick. So Robbo pounced on it, and that was game, set, match. You could just hear what it meant to the crowd, because that's definitely up there with the loudest I've heard the Stoop, and all the other boys who are coming into the changing room who've had a couple of beers during the game. They're in good spirit. So yeah, it was a good win and nice to be part of. The guys who have played, you come off and you talk in your little groups, but it's kind of just sit down and get your breath back, and pretty much for me, just take it all in, because at the time, like, me and Fridge probably didn't. We just presumed there'd be more games, but as it is in rugby, you never know when it'll be your last game for the club, and now we know you know, we're not at Quins anymore. That is, you know, one of the highlights that we can look back on, and we can have conversations like this with you, Russ, that get me and Fridge on, who are close mates, and we can talk about, you know, those great memories that we had.
Well, yeah, that's what it's all about, isn't it? You just, you know, you got like the big occasion and the games and that, but you know, like they're almost like for you, child. But when you play with, you know, some of your best mates or whatever, that means more, and that's better than winning or losing the game. You know, obviously it's better when you win, but you know, when you get out there like with your mates and stuff, and you play in the big games and stuff, that's when, you know, as I said, that's, you know, the stuff you remember. You know, you look like we was at Quins for what, 8 years or something, and you know, and it's those, you know, you could probably pick, I don't know, about 10 games out of those that we played, and you could be like, yeah, you know, they're the ones you definitely remember. You know, Charlie scored 2 tries in that game, so you'd obviously remember that, and we won, and all that other stuff, you know. But when you play with your mates, that's what it's all about, and especially playing at that level. Like, it's obviously, it would be good if even if you were playing for, you know, like London Division 5, and you go play on a Saturday or Sunday for a laugh, like you'd enjoy that. But then when you're playing at that level with your mates, that's definitely the times of your life.